Now let's move on to the next activity. You are doing a good job in the previous task. Now let's test out your knowledge. Here is the direction. Choose the letter that corresponds to the correct answer. Write your answers on your or in your answer sheet. Number 1. Which of the statement best describes the use of bar graphs? A. They show trends over time. B. They compare things between two groups. C. They are used to track changes over a short period of time. Or D. They are used to track changes over a long period of time. The correct answer for number 1 is letter B. They compare things between two groups. Now let's move on to number 2. Which is the best way to display the information about monthly expenses for last month? A. Bar graph. B. Concept map. C. Pie graph. Or D. Venn diagram. The correct answer is, of course, letter C. Pie graph. Now let's continue. Number 3. James is going to report the sales per month of their car company for the year 2019. What type of graph should we use to present that data? So of course using numbers. Is it A. Bar graphs, B. flow charts, C. pie charts, or D. Venn diagram? The correct answer for letter number 3 is letter A. Bar graphs. Now let's move on to number 4. Ram is going to discuss in class the water cycle. What graph should he use to show the process? A. Concept map, B. flow chart, C. line graph, or D. pie chart? Of course, the correct answer is letter B. Flow chart. Let's continue. Number 5. John will make a comic strip of the fable, The Monkey and the Turtle. What type of textual aid will he most likely use? A. Concept map, B. graphic organizer, C. illustrations, or D. italic and bold letters. The correct answer for number 5 is, of course, letter C. Illustrations. Now let's move on to number 6. What type of textual aid gives the gist of the story? You already knew that. The correct answer is letter A. Title. Next, number 7. Which of the following information should be placed on a timeline? The correct answer for number 7 is letter B. Family members, birth years. So letter B. Let's move on to number 8. Which statement would best complete this line? A pie chart is A. Starting with the earliest and following the order in which they occurred. B. Diagram of data in which specific values are plotted as dots and connected using lines. C. Graph in which a circle is divided into sectors that each represent a portion of the whole. Or D. Diagrams in which the numerical values of variables are represented by the height of length of lines or rectangles of equal width. The correct answer for number 8 is letter C. Now let's move on. Study the given graph. Number 9. So again, this is an example of a line graph. On the left side, we have potatoes. And then below, we have the year from 2009 up to 2016. Question number 9. How many potatoes were produced in 2012 until 2014? The correct answer is letter B. 175. 2012 to 2014. So 50 plus 70 plus 55. How much is that? It's 175. Number 10. Between what year were the highest number of potatoes produced? A. 2009 to 2010. C. 2011 to 2012. C. 2012 to 2013. Or D. 2015 to 2016. So the correct answer for number 10 is... So the correct answer is letter C. Although there are two letter C here, but the correct answer is this one. 2011 and then 2012. Still it is C. So again, the correct answer for number 10 is letter C. 11, for items 11 to 15. Each wedge in the pie charts represent a form of expense. Pick out your answers from the box below, then write your or the expenses on the line. Okay, so you are going to again write or pick out your answers from the box. Write the expense on the line. So you are going to choose your answers from here. So number 11, the correct answer is we have operation. Number 12, the correct answer for number 12 is miscellaneous. Number 13, the correct answer for number 13 is interest on loans. Number 14, capital outlay. And number 15, instruction. So that's it for items 11 up to 15. Now let's move on to task 4 of this lesson. You have already learned the varied purposes of textual aids. Now let's see you make a chart. So you are going to make a chart. Present me graphically directions. Show what you have learned about textual aids and their varied purposes as you do what is being asked in every situation below. Write your answers in your answer sheet. Number 1. Diane has a monthly income of 25,000 pesos. She spends 10,000 pesos on rental, 5,000 on educational fees, and 3,500 on other things such as groceries, entertainment, and etc. And she saves the rest of it. Show how Diane spends her monthly income using a graph. Put labels in your graph. Use coloring materials to distinguish its part. Again, you are going to show how Diane spends her monthly income using a graph. So you are going to use a graph. Then put labels in your graph. Use coloring materials to distinguish its part. Okay, so here is what you are going to do for task 4 number 1. So you are going to use a pie chart with the title on top, Diane's monthly expenses. So you are going to divide the graph. We have 10,500, 3,500, and 6,500. So that's it for number 1. Use the pie chart. For number 2, use the set of information below to show how students spend their day by using the most appropriate textual aid. So you have there, eating 1 hour, getting ready for school 5 hours, going to school 7 hours, hanging out 1.5 hours, reading 25 hours, sleeping 6 hours, studying 5 hours, watching TV 2.25 hours, and working 5 hours. This is what you are going to do for task 2. So of course, you are going to use the pie chart again. So you have to put the title, how students spend their days. So you are going to divide the pie chart. So you have there 7, 1.5, 0.25, 6, 0.5, 22.5, 5, 1, and 0.5. So again, for number 1 and number 2, you are going to use the pie chart. Now let's move on to number 3 of task 4. Read and understand the text. Use the most appropriate textual aid in presenting the information. Write your answers in your answer sheet. Okay, the writing process has 4 distinct phases. The first is invention, which is aided by any number of techniques, including free writing, mind mapping, and outlining. So again, free writing, mind mapping, and outlining are under invention. Now let's continue. In this first stage, it's important for a writer not to edit but to let ideas flow and to simply get them down on paper. After invention, so we have here the second technique, comes the first draft, meaning to say drafting. That's the second technique. The stage where the ideas start to take shape. Many writers use a sentence outline at this stage to see where they need to cut and where they need to add material. The first draft is also where writers should develop a tentative thesis to guide the structure of their essay. The next stage, so we are now on the third. The next stage of the process is when both the second and third drafts are done. So, here, ideas and structure are refined. So that's the third stage, refining. And the thesis is revised until it becomes the unifying idea of the paper. Finally comes the last stage. The last stage, which is the fourth one, that of editing. So the last stage is editing. Again, let's go back. The first stage is inventing or invention, inventing. Under invention, we have free writing, mind mapping, and outlining. Second stage is we have drafting. Third stage is refining. And the last stage is we have editing. Writers should take care at this stage that all sentence structure and punctuation is correct, and they should make corrections to documentation format as needed. Writers often repeat these 4 phases more than once, or skip a phase and go back to it, making the writing process more cyclical than linear. So again, you are going to use the most appropriate textual aid in presenting the information. So you are going to present this information using a textual aid. Now let's move on to the assessment, which is your task 5, which is concept mapping. And here is the directions. Read the selection and provide the details needed in each box. Write your answer in your answer sheet. So using your module, I want you to read this selection, which is entitled Greek Drama. Again, you are going to read the selection, which is entitled Greek Drama, using your module. And after reading the selection, you are going to give your answers to the following chart or textual aid. So you have there the title, Athenian Age. So you are going to write your answer for number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and of course 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, and 15. So, I will give you the correct answer for this task. Number 1, we have Pericles. Pericles. Number 2, Pericles was the ruling power of Athens. Again, number 2, Pericles was the ruling power of Athens. Number 3, Golden Age. Number 4, drama. Number 5, Aeschylus or Aeschylus. 6, Sophocles. And 7, Euripides. Number 8, greatest writer of comedy, we have Aristophanes. So you really have to read the selection for you to get the correct spelling of those names. Let's move on to number 9. Stages of civilization shown in 3 division of their poetry. The correct answer for number 9 is 3 division of their poetry. Now let's move on to number 10, 11, and 12. Epics about number 10, adventure of epic hero. Number 11, relates action of. The correct answer is great heroes told. Again, great heroes told. Number 12, in a blank manner. Okay, number 12 is noble and grand manner. So that's it for numbers 10 up to 12. Now let's move on to number 13 and 14. Lyrics about number 13, personal aims and wishes. And number 14, depths of human emotions. Again, number 13, personal aims and wishes. And number 14, depths of human emotion. And last but not the least, number 15, dramatic poetry organ of. Number 15, the correct answer is prevailing thoughts and feelings. Again, number 15, prevailing thoughts and feelings. Now let's move on to task 6, synopsize. Here is the directions. Fill out the table with the details needed in each box. Write your answer in your answer sheet. So you are going to fill out the table with the details needed in each box. So you can get the answers here from the lesson that we had previously. So from the previous lesson, you can get your answers there, and you are going to fill this table out. So that's it for task 6. So that's all for lesson 2 of module 4, English 10, quarter 1, module 4, lesson 2. This has been your teacher saying adios. Mwah.